Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Definition, aka the YouTuber that's nothing to look at. In this episode we're breaking down The Invisible Man. Normally when we cover films as part of our insane detailed series, we have to wait months for the movie's home release in order to fully pick it apart. However, in light of the world-changing events that are going on right now, Universal have released the film early on VOD, so we've had a chance to take in multiple rewatches of it. There's a ton of crazy things in the film, and throughout this video we're going to be breaking down some of the best tidbits and Easter eggs that you may have missed. There will be heavy spoilers here, so if you haven't had a chance to check the movie out yet, then I highly recommend that you turn off now. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for breakdowns like this every day, and please give it a thumbs up if you enjoy the video. With that out of the way, I just want to give a huge thank you for clicking this. Now let's get into our breakdown of The Invisible Man. Okay, so The Invisible Man follows Cecilia as she's haunted by her ex-Adrian who has developed the means to turn invisible. It really is a terrifying film that has themes of gaslighting, stalking, and there's just a lot going on in it that makes it one of the best horrors in recent memory. The names of the characters themselves tie into several things and show just how deep the creative team were thinking when crafting the movie. Cecilia is called C for short, which is ironic because she's stalked by something throughout the movie that she's unable to. Get it? C? And Cecilia as a name derives itself from the male version of Cecil. This comes from the Roman name Caecilius, which itself is based on the Latin word Coccus, which also means blind. In addition to this, the Invisible Man, or rather men in the movie, are called Adrian and Tom Griffin. In the original work by H.G. Wells, which the movie is based upon, the Invisible Man's name is Griffin, so this is a cool little nod to show that they both played a part. Adrian is a controlling man that we learn throughout the movie is possessive over his brother and Cecilia. This is exemplified by one of the opening shots, as when we first get a look at C, Adrian is sleeping with his arm around her. I know that's a pretty normal thing to do, unless you like to spoon your pillow like I do, but it instantly sets up the narrative that no matter what, Adrian will not let her go. The house itself is contained within walls, and trying to climb over one of them when escaping takes it out of Cecilia completely. She really has to give it a roll just to scale a wall, yet in contrast, Adrian is able to break through the barriers that she puts in place with ease. When escaping the property, C puts a window up as a way to block Adrian, but he smashes through with his hand to showcase just how much more powerful he is than her. It constantly hammers home the point that he will do whatever it takes to get to Cecilia, and it really sets the groundwork for the film going forward. Now, one of the big questions around the movie is, did Adrian actually do any of it? We learn in the film that his brother Tom was behind some of the strange things that happen in the movie, but we never get a clear-cut answer. Now, whilst it is possible that Tom could have carried out all of the attacks, it does seem unlikely due to the little details in the movie that point to Adrian's personality. Adrian actually possesses the perfect mind to create an invisible suit, and there are several things we learn about him that showcase exactly why he would do it. Firstly, cameras a lot of the time allow you to look at people without them being able to look at you. A genius possessing a personality disorder that would involve stalking would likely become obsessed over this notion, and thus this drive has allowed Adrian to create the best optics on the planet. We see that he has ties with a company called Viz that specializes in optical security, and this is likely how he made his fortune, through creating devices that can watch people. Adrian's house is filled to the brim with cameras, and though it initially appears that they are there for security, as the movie goes on it becomes less and less likely that this is the case. Other than the dog, Cecilia is the only one that lives there. We learn that she hasn't seen her sister in a while, and Adrian doesn't really seem like the kind of person that would let her go out due to her having to jump over high walls. It's likely that these cameras are there for one reason, which is to watch over her night and day. This obsession with watching people through cameras likely spurred on his obsession with cameras. This obsession with cameras spurred him on to combine his need to stalk people with the technology that he'd created, and thus he was able to build a suit that utilized cameras to allow him to watch people without ever being seen. There's an incredible amount of subtext going on, and a lot of things that you wouldn't really notice that truly speak to the psychology of the character. Later we see the Invisible Man photographing Cecilia as she sleeps, and from what we know of Adrian, it is likely that the character would use cameras when stalking people. Tom states that Adrian was manipulative and could get people to do exactly what he wanted them to. We know this from Cecilia's experience, and though it could have all been Tom, it is more likely that Adrian was actually behind the entire thing. I mean, the guy did put his hand through a car window just to grab her, so he doesn't seem like he has the nicest of personalities. But anyway, he's dead. I don't want to diss the guy too much. Juxtaposing this, Cecilia has several things in the movie that also indicate her personality. Firstly, she wears a hoodie that says Cal Poly Architecture, and later she's interviewing for an architecture position. Architects put up walls and barriers and are centered around creating foundations, whereas Adrian is obsessed with creating technology that bypasses these and allows you to be able to look beyond them. I love in films when the protagonist and antagonist have clashing ideologies, and this is cemented here with both of the characters. There are also a lot of things that are set up that pay off later in the movie. There is of course the repetition of surprise that gives away the game with Adrian, but there's also several other things that reappear. Firstly, the background of Adrian's phone is the same texture as the suit, marking his obsession with it. Early on in the film, we see Cecilia using Adrian's technology against him in order to escape, and this would thematically play into the movie's climax, in which she also uses it against him. Upon exiting the property, she grabs a knife on the way out, and it is possible that Adrian knew people would investigate the house upon his death, realise a knife was missing, and then tie it to the death of C's sister. Now, it is unlikely that Adrian would be able to find this specific knife weeks later. However, when C is cooking in the film, we can see a knife which flaps about and then disappears once her back is turned. The knife doesn't make a sound upon falling, thus we can assume that Adrian instead pocketed it. The cooker then sparks up and starts a fire, so we know that Adrian was indeed doing this. Later in the attic, C comes across Adrian's phone and the knife wrapped up in an evidence bag. She takes it out and touches it, and if her fingerprints weren't already on it, then they will surely be now, and therefore when her sister's throat is cut, it can be pinned on her. If she was in the restaurant when it was cut, but didn't have gloves or her prints on the knife, she could have disputed it. However, all of this comes together to tie her to the crime. When escaping the property, C passes an arm for the suit, as well as 4 shadowy mannequins standing in the background watching her. I have no idea why they're there, it just adds to the voyeurism aesthetic that is laced throughout the movie and the idea that a man is always looking over her. Adrian's dog is called Zeus and is named after the ancient Greek father of the gods. Dog backwards is God. I'll stop at that point before I get anywhere, but the gods could watch over people even though they couldn't see them, and this further adds to the themes of the film. Adrian's home is located on Celestial Drive, and this further hammers home the notion of omnipresence. In addition to XT-Viz, Adrian is also the founder of the company Cobalt, which you may know from Lee Winnell's other film Upgrade, in which that too was a corporation. There's another tie to a film that Winnell worked on, which is Saw, as when C steals a car we can see her spin it round, and there's a mural on the wall of Billy, the puppet from the franchise. The movie too references other instances of the Invisible Man, as when we get a glimpse at Sydney's room, there's a drawing on the wall of a man in an anorak and hat that looks extremely similar to the original depiction of the character. On top of this, C is awoken in the night by an anorak on a stand, which also resembles the first on-screen characterization. A man also appears with bandages wrapped around his face that too bears a lot of similarities to past versions. C finds refuge with James, and during the film he wears a top with Prestige 1949 on, which could be a nod to The Invisible Man Appears, a Japanese adaptation of the story. When C is outside, Adrian's breath can clearly be seen, but there's another thing that happens in the film that shows he will always be with her. That is her pregnancy. Not only does Adrian financially dominate C by giving her money, but by getting her pregnant, he too makes sure that she's tied to him forever. Now, when this happened for definite, we don't know, but there are several clues as to when it could have taken place. The film is deliberately ambiguous over this, and there are 2 possibilities. Either she fell pregnant before escaping the house, or this was done whilst she was at James's. Both are horrific, but there are a couple of lines in the film that hint to when it actually was. Firstly, C says that the birth control only lasts so long, and that this led her drive to escape. Secondly, we do learn that Adrian knew C was taking birth control pills, and therefore he could have swapped these with placebos. In the psychiatric hospital, Cecilia learns that she fell pregnant within the last month, thus this does mean that she could have been at Adrian's house during it. Diazepam plays a big part throughout the movie, and this smoking gun could showcase that he was indeed drugging her beforehand, like he does in the film. The movie itself is all about gaslighting, and the fact that Adrian deliberately wanted to question when she fell pregnant adds to the psychological torture that he inflicts. Whilst you can really go either way with it, I think the fact that he knew that she was taking pills before she escaped, left clues about drugging her, and also wanted a way to tie him to her forever indicates that she was pregnant before leaving. There's so much going on in it, and it's definitely one of the best movies of the year so far. Though, with everything that's going on, that's not too difficult right now. Now, what I love about the film is that the Invisible Man could be standing watching any of the characters from the corner of the room at any time. He might even be standing behind you right now. I hope not though, because he should really be self-isolating, that bad man. Now obviously I'd love to hear your thoughts on the film and if there's anything I missed. Comment below and let me know, and if you enjoyed this video then please give it a thumbs up and make sure you check out our breakdown of the scariest details that were hidden in Midsommar, which is going to be linked at the end. We go over some of the faces in the background, the amazing symbolism and things that you might have missed, so it's definitely worth checking out after this. If you want to support the channel from as little as 99 cents a month, then please click the join button below. We massively appreciate it, and as a thank you, you get access to content early. If you want to come chat to us after the show, either follow us at DefinitionYT or click the Discord link in the description below. Every month we give away free movies to people who are subscribed to the channel, and this month you can win the Star Wars Skywalker Saga box set, and all you have to do is comment on a video and make sure you sub with notifications on. The more videos you comment on, the more you have a chance of winning, so definitely make sure you get involved. The winner is going to be chosen at random on the 15th of April, and the set will be shipped out from then to whoever gets the prize, so best of luck to everyone who takes part. This is a channel for people who are mad into movies, so if that's the kind of thing you like, hit subscribe. Huge thank you for taking the time to watch this. I've been Definition, you've been the best, and I'll see you next time. Take care, peace.